So today, as everybody's aware, thank you for joining us. We're talking about scaling social media with a revenue first mindset. Myself, I'm Rory as the moderator, really your fearless leader during this conversation. And on the topic of social media in general, and I'm joined by Pravir, who is Datamatics global delivery leader and the brains behind all of our operations. He's really the man with all the power here at Datamatics. So
Mm.
welcome, welcome, welcome. So I do want to start off with what we did last week. So last week at Datamatics, we brought together marketing leaders from nearly every major industry for a private dinner in New York City. It was a lot of fun. We had a great turnout, and the brands kind of ranged from healthcare, finance, tech, retail, and consumer goods, which was kind of neat to have all those different brands in the room and really have a difference of opinion from all the different segments out there. So it was kind of cool to have those conversations. And the biggest surprise was how underrepresented social media still is as a revenue channel inside most organizations, which I'm surprised, but also not surprised. During the conversation, a lot of the same kinds of themes kept repeating themselves. And it's stuff that I've heard over the last, 5 or 6 years being in this space. Um, and I thought it might be kind of interesting to share those thoughts with you today, Pravir, and really get your perspective being on the global delivery side of things and kind of understand where your truth lies and what you're seeing from an operational side of things. So throughout this conversation, we do have a couple of polls that we'll put in the chat. And I also am welcoming anybody to kind of join in and ask questions. Feel free to drop any questions that you might have in the chat, and we can kind of address those as we go. So why don't we get started? One of the first topics I wanted to kind of discuss that kind of popped during the dinner was turning likes to leads. I think a lot of people in this space who are really passionate about social media, we're still really seeing social being treated as an awareness channel, not necessarily as a revenue engine. And from what I've heard, it's really hard to share the tangible ROI. I think we all kind of struggle with that in the social media space. It's such an important space to be in, but there's so many different avenues that one can go down as they open up their apps. And social really builds a lot of different things where revenue is important, but I also think it builds brand awareness, reputation, trust. There's this community that's built. And it almost opens you up to a world of different topics and discussions and products. It's just such a neat space, and it really does kind of pull together these five real important things, but these don't necessarily immediately convert into sales. So that's difficult for the social media team to go back to their executives and be like, well, this is the impact that we've had. Because really, I think social is a kind of a long-term impact. And it makes it harder to tie directly back to revenue, especially immediately. But customers may see brand content on Instagram or read reviews on TikTok, follow a LinkedIn leader on LinkedIn, and months later that purchase could come to fruition on a completely different channel from where they originally started. So all of this kind of is really difficult, but that's not to say that social isn't important. So I'd love to hear from your side, Pravir, what you're seeing in terms of the operational gaps that prevent companies from turning engagement into revenue through the social media streams.
You touched on the fact. I think unless until you're an influencer, we end up making a lot of good money, and we all would want to turn to that. But the serious aspect is that how do we use social media channels and the entire marketing gamut of things? And it's not about the intent. The funny thing is, um, every company thinks that their challenge is unique, and the fact that there is, how do you convert a social media campaign into more,
Define clear goals, understand your unique challenge and audience.
can you believe it? That's my AI walking on my phone. My phone just heard what I was talking about. And that's social media for you. That's how things work
Yeah.
across. But the point is
Yeah.
the gap across industries, I would break it down to about three different segments. First is the fragmented ownership. So between, marketing does their engagement channels, so on and so forth. Sales chases the leads that's been generated, and then operations does the delivery. But who owns the entire journey from end to end? Um, Example, a customer might engage with Adobe's digital content. That'll be your marketing team. But if sales and ops are not in sync or understanding what's happening on the content, you don't end up delivering. The other aspect which I've seen, is the slow follow through. I mean, the marketing team has done a great campaign and they brought some leads into the funnel, and we see that that does not flow through sometimes. I mean, retail channels or brands collect millions of signals. You've got clicks, chats, reviews. Now, how does that entire data that's getting collected, flow into the teams who can convert them, who can take them from a perspective? So data is getting collected. Huge things are happening. Now, how is that getting funneled into the entire channel to convert into more signalable, or I would say a marketable revenue? The fact is, engagement is not the problem. It's turning the engagement into a revenue model. That's where you need the plumbing. And that's where
Mhm.
the difference between how each part of the organization is working across, how you're using data that is getting, generated at each level. You've got, as an organization, you've got your websites developing data. You've got your connects developing data. You've got your chatbots, chats, reviews, social media across developing data. How are you using it? Is it actually getting translated into actionable insights or items by each part of the organization? That's where we feel the gap sometimes. And that's where Datamatics, or myself and my team, have been able to bring some kind of semblance, I would say, into the madness of reality, Rory.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, all of that data being funneled into one lake, as we say, and kind of using that to strategize for the entire year. I mean, it's really a fountain of information to really kind of power your brand to be doing what the next best thing is for it.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
with all
sorry to
that
interrupt
data,
you.
go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. It's not. See, the intent of the organization is great. The end result everybody wants is the great, right?
Hmm.
Is
Hmm.
the messy middle, the
Yeah.
what's happening in the
Yeah, it's
middle,
true.
the handoff zones between each part of the organization is where we see a drop. It almost becomes like a Chinese whisper. The good
Yeah.
intentions end up dying, from marketing to SDRs, from SDRs to sales, from sales to delivery. I mean, I can give you an example. A patient clicks on a healthcare plan, fills up a form,
Hmm.
expresses the intent of what they really want to do. Now, the handoff from marketing to enrollment team, pretty manual at the time, at this time, even now in the age of AI, as might say, but will get to that sometime later.
Hmm.
Someone's called them, but by the time the intent goes from here to here to here, the patient's already gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
In a SaaS environment, right? The marketing team generates, through social media content, so on and so forth, 1,000+ requests. Do you know how many demos actually see the light of day? Maybe about 10 to 15%. Where did that break happen? It's because the funnel is not orchestrated. It's not stitched together in the segment. It almost needs to flow like a symphony from the start to the end. Sorry, just couldn't help but jumping on that one, Rory. Apologies to interrupt
No,
you.
no, that makes total sense to me. I do think that there's so many players as a part of the game. If they're not all working together, then you're right, it does get broken. The break in the funnel is real, and I think that's so common across brands, to have those breaks. And everybody has their own strategy, and everybody has their own plan, and everybody wants the same goal. But like you said, in between the messy middle, it really can break
Yeah.
down, and if we're all not staying focused on the same thing, then it's difficult because everybody has their own strategy in place, and they want to make sure that they get across what they're supposed to be doing for that year. So let's shift a little bit. So, what does a good upstream and downstream social execution look like in practice, since we do have this messy middle?
See, the point is, it's about the two engines working together in sync, right?
Hmm.
So you generate signals. Now, do the signals get down into genuine intent? And somebody says, okay, let's do a meme Monday. Let's do a Freaky Friday. Now, do you really want to do it? Is it part of your ICP? Is your ICP telling the story to build into your content and then take it down? It's sometimes the entire storytelling or the entire aspect of what you want to achieve gets missed out either at the
Yeah.
marketing level because the operations or the, let's say, the factory which is producing, let's say, producing a shoe, right? And the shoe is one of the best in the market, but does the marketing team understands why the production team actually produced that? So the break in the conversation, it's not all about sales. The sales guys might say, "Oh, hey, I got to achieve, a $10 million revenue, and my, MRR, which is the monthly recurring revenue, should be about 5.6 million for the next year. So, which will bring me to about 10 million, about 15 million a quarter. Even if I lose a few customers, I'll touch a 10." And you're looking at numbers. The guys
Hmm.
who are designing it on the spot, the shoes, are talking about, "Hey, I want to give a great experience. This particular product that I'm building, it'll be so comfortable to walk in, even high heels. You walk in 6, 9 inches, you'll feel so comfortable." You know what I'm saying? But that's not the message that is going out from the top of the funnel then. And these are things, the messaging, the upstream and downstream messaging needs to be total inconducive. I mean, every command. I mean,
Yeah.
I can give you an example. We saw it in a global fashion brand that we support, right? Once we aligned the top stream, the middle, and the bottom, we saw a 4 times engagement spike and a 4 times increase in revenue. And it's not that difficult. It's like, how do you measure the intent? Uh, One of our BFS clients, right, had amazing amount of social media from it. It's actually what do you call, one of the fintech banks, and they were generating leads for a kind of a loan engine that they had. Amazing amount of leads were getting generated. Now we helped them convert their, took the downstream and uploaded it back into the upstream. What is that the product can deliver realistically, and why was it catered for and made for? It led to about a 2 times increase in their overall funnel and the sales that they were getting. So it's almost like a good social media would look like signals in the front and structured operations at the back of it. And at the same
Hmm.
time, whatever you're generating or you're you know envisioning at the back end needs to be taken by the marketing team, by the social marketing team in the front end. There are a lot of new tools and tech that are coming to the market today to, synchronize or harmonize the entire journey. People could take advantage of them. At the same time, you could use effective players in the market or third-party outsourcers like us to help you string that along just to increase your overall funnel.
Yeah. I've seen it from the product side. I've seen it from the customer care side as well. From a retail brand that I work with, I've seen the silos being kind of a struggle because they're preventing really like a smooth customer journey experience. Social media might pick up a person who has a problem inside of social, but they can't actually solve the problem because they're not able to tap into the customer care platform that the people in the call center are using, because the call center doesn't want you to take the social media business into their space and vice
Mhm.
versa. They don't want their space taken over. But if we could work together, then we could execute the conversation from start to finish inside of social, or from start to finish inside of the call center. And that leads to more happy customers, better brand affinity, faster turnaround time. So yeah, silos are a huge problem, but you're right. If you can get the back end to kind of be working with the front end, then I think that everything is
Yeah.
going to be more smooth overall from the product and the customer care side of
Yes.
things.
See, sometimes it's not the intent of two or three parts of the
No.
organization, right?
Yeah.
They have the right intent. It's like
Yeah.
how do they stitch it together? How technology or organizations who are third party or looking outside in can help them stitch it together. It's not that engagement drives revenue. All of a sudden saying, hey, I am having a great social media campaign, I'm going to drive great revenue. That's not how it works. It's like giving your team share the workflows. It's a delivery, global delivery. Everyone's connected across from one end to the other. I mean, at times we've
Hmm.
had we recommend to our customers, pick up your best ops people, put them in marketing, pick up your best marketing people, put them in ops.
Yeah,
And
it's not a
things
bad
start
idea.
changing dramatically when
Yeah,
they
I
start
like
working
that.
as one aspect. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
I'm not telling everybody to do that, but that's not a bad. It's just syncing it together. And technology
Yeah,
today can help do
team
it. I
building.
mean, yeah, absolutely.
Hmm. I like it.
Should we do
Okay,
a?
so
Sorry, go ahead,
a
please.
poll. Want to
Yeah,
do a
let's
poll?
do a quick poll.
Alrighty, go ahead. Yeah,
Let's see what people think about what we're talking about.
yeah, that sounds great. All right, so which part of your social media program creates the biggest gap today? Is that strategy, execution, or measurement? Plug in your answers and we can discuss it.
Looks like have you got some answers across, or people are totally bored with what we're talking about?
I don't see the answers, but maybe I can't see it from my side. Can you see it from your side, Burger? All right, here we go. Oh, wow. 100% on execution.
So that's
Wow.
one person that answered, but awesome. Thank you and appreciate that.
Thank you for that
Yes.
person.
No,
Oh, it
it's
says
actually true.
100% answered.
Yeah, it's actually true. Execution is more problem than your strategy and development. And that's, I think, where
Yeah.
I would suggest that use the help of experts to help you execute uh, your overall strategy and the intent that you have. Every organization has the right intent to move it and take it forward. But it's just how do you execute it? As somewhere I read, it was, it's all about execution, execution, and execution, in a way when you put it. So, it might like, how should I put it? Uh, Marketing is not about selling and putting your products out. If you might say it, I might be totally berserk on saying this. It's about how do you take the entire organization together and project what the organization has into the market, and then take. I mean, instead of 1,000 leads, even if you generate 10 of them, and your execution strategy is totally in sync with what you're projecting in the market, upstream and downstream, you have a better conversion rate than if you were able to generate 1,000. So how much money is that you want to spend on marketing is a question. If you do not have your entire internal organization in sync, you could spend millions, not get anything out of it, or you can spend 1,000 and get more bang for the buck than a person who's spending 1 million. Just one of my thoughts, right?
Yeah, yeah. I have heard from podcasts I listened to recently that if you don't dump any money into marketing in the right places, your product will fail because you need to have the awareness. So I think, like we talked about from start to finish, you have to have all the teams working together. Marketing is key, but it has to be dumped into the right parts of marketing. And then the product itself obviously will speak for itself once you have that marketing there. But I think all pieces are important. Okay,
Lost,
so another, go ahead. You want to say something
no, I
else?
lost you for a bit. That's okay. You're back.
Oh, I'm sorry
Okay.
about that. Another topic that kind of popped during our conversation was really about AI. which I'm sure that's on everybody's minds, and how AI can be in the mix inside of social media, how we best use it. One of the interesting things that kind of presented itself during the conversation was really where the friction lies, where tech starts and the handoff to a real person can begin, the repetition that can happen. There was a story that was kind of told. I won't mention the company that this person had an issue with, but that they were on a call trying to get to somebody. They reached a bot. They were doing all the prompts. They needed some quick help. Um, and the problem was every time they continued to make the prompts with the bot, it kind of sent them in like a little bit of a tailspin. And all they really wanted to was get to a person. So I think the fine line between having the bot in place or an agentic AI person in place needs to also be smooth and transitioning off into a real person when you actually need that person. And then, in addition to the handoff being smooth, it really needs to have all the data and information that that person is now talked to with the bot that should be presented to that real time agent so that this person doesn't have to repeat themselves, because then you create not only the friction with the bot and trying to get to a person, get to a person, get to a person, you can't. Once you finally get there, you don't want to have to repeat yourself because you're already frustrated with the conversation that's even happening and you're not even able to solve the problem at hand. And therefore, it kind of makes the time that much longer. So, I think another topic that we can discuss here is really how we insert tech in the tools that are in place without creating too much noise per year. So, let me get going on that.
When you talk about the marketing space, or any
Mhm.
space for that matter, right? AI
Yeah.
is everyone's favorite toy today, right? Everybody
Yeah.
loves it. Everybody
Maybe
wants
it's a
to have
hot
it.
button.
Yeah, I like to say, AI is like the intern who suddenly knows
Mhm.
everything: research, content, targeting, analytics, automation. It's
Yeah.
like it's like all of a sudden it's become huge, and trust me, does not even need a coffee break. I need I was having a Coke right now. I don't need AI does not even need to have a Coke right now. So
Yeah.
that's the beauty part of it. But at the same time, it's not only uh, it's delivering great results, but at the same time, how do you use it effectively? And as we've been discussing, the breaks within the organization, the fact that the problem lies right in the middle of it and nowhere else, where I would say strategy is different from execution and execution different from strategy. The break, how do you sync that together? And AI or automation or analytics, the way you might put it, can help you bridge that gap. Across industries, we've been using AI in marketing options. I can give a long-winded answer. Just stop me where you want to stop me. Uh, Example, audience targeting and segmentation. So
Yeah.
AI can read behavior patterns faster than any person. So you've got immense
Mhm.
amount of data, and you can use that for understanding your audience, or the people that you want to target. In retail, we've got so many customers using AI models for auto
True.
segmentation, shopping, so on and so forth. I mean, I
Mhm.
myself have been, how should I say, at the brunt of it. I started using Temu, and all of a sudden, I ended up spending so much money on it. I actually didn't want to. It keeps on popping up and telling me, hey, you looked at this. See, we found a new brand of it. We found a new this of this. I start getting emails.
Yeah.
I start getting WhatsApp message. It's
Targeting.
unbelievable the amount of
Yeah.
audience targeting that data can help you do. Then
Yeah.
the next aspect is the content generation and variation testing. So you can use AI to generate content for you, specifically
Mhm.
targeted to where you want to go. Earlier, you would have a team sitting there spending hours developing content. At least it will take you to that next level so that you can make the strategic decision to do that, whether it's email, social media, and then you can test it and then decide which one do you want to use. So much of time spent gets there. Next element, which I really feel is really important, qualifying the leads that you get and predicting the intent that's coming from it. It's not uh, rocket science sometimes, but you really got to sit and say, okay, I've got 1,000 leads. Which one should I go after? I've got two salespeople. Should you start calling all of them? No, it'll help you prioritize your leads basis what you want to achieve out of it, basis the intent, basis the last sale, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. Response automation, triaging what you do not need and what should go to which part of your organization. The feedback that you're getting from social media. Social media is not just about marketing, it's also about collecting feedback, collecting intent about
Mhm.
your organization product. So the bots can handle the first wave of the comments, the chats that are coming in, or any kind of query that's coming to the website, or any kind of thoughts that are being described about you or your product, and can help you immensely take that to the next level for you to change your product, update the way you're marketing it, or at the same time, don't do any changes at all. You're doing a great job. So, yeah, I mean, it can support marketing ops with confidence, but not, that's where the human comes in the mix after that. I don't want to just forget the human part of it because I
Yeah.
think we are right there. We still will win in this entire messy and emotional environment. Because, so look at it from this perspective. You've got everything data driven, everything I spoke about. You got so much of information now with you, and you're sitting across a client. Where does the emotions and the aspect, the humanization of it, the culture, the humor come to the mix? But combining the two is where you can get more, I would say, more intent out of it, more bang for the buck out of it, and taking your entire social media marketing to the next level. I mean, I'd like to talk a bit more, but Rory, I hope I'm not spoken too much in my time.
No, no, you're great. I always like to say tech-powered, human-led is the best way to deliver. Use your technology to keep your team safe, to respond to people in a safe manner, but also have the human empathy there and in place to kind of deliver the most, smooth customer experience. But
Yeah.
where do you see how Datamatics merges AI with delivery teams to scale programs quickly so that they can kind of see the cross between the two?
Before I go that, I think it's time for another
And do
quick
another poll?
round of questions to see
Sure.
that what does the team and everybody feel about the entire AI aspect.
Yeah, sounds
Lou.
great. So, where does social media live in your organization today? In marketing, sales, customer experience, or is it a shared ownership?
I think it stays in my personal cell phone.
I'd like it to stay there.
I met a person today, one of our very respected clients. I'm sorry, I'm not going to name the person, but uh, it's a multi-billion-dollar organization. You know what he told me? He's
Hmm.
like, I said, can we exchange numbers? Because I was meeting him for the first time. He's like, yeah, take my number, call me anytime, and let's continue this conversation. He's like, but I'm not on WhatsApp. I'm not on social media. So he's not on WhatsApp, social media, what do you call that? Facebook, Twitter, even LinkedIn, nowhere. He's like, those are
Nothing.
disruptions for me. So I
Mm.
intend to stay away from them. But at the same time, his entire organization into social media. Unbelievable. But yeah, everybody to their own liking. Marketing.
Yeah. So
That's an interesting
yeah,
intent. Yeah.
marketing. I've seen that. I've seen both marketing and customer care, customer experience teams. Um, and I think that it's the thing about social media, from my standpoint anyway, and my experience there with the brands that I've worked with, is it's just a different animal in customer service. So you just have to be careful about your tone, your strategy, what you're doing inside of that to make sure that people are staying brand safe. Um, so marketing is a great place for it to sit, honestly. In the customer care space, I think it's fine. I just think that you have to be careful of not being too customer care focused when you're in the customer experience side of things for social media. Marketing is great because you can have your own strategy, you can have your own tone, you can have your own playbook, and then I do think that there is an importance of bridging the gap between the social media team on the marketing side and the customer service side so that you can have that smooth experience. but I'll let Purveer speak
So
more.
Rory, I could ask you a question, right? I know you've been
Yeah,
in this space for the last
sure.
15 years plus. I pretty much started in high school, but what, what you've interacted with so many, I would say, or big organizations across
Mhm.
the US. What's been your experience in social media marketing from your perspective, and some of the interesting things that you've seen or learned during this time?
Yeah, I mean, my experience in in the social channels is really to utilize them as best as you can in order to kind of create relationships. I think the sense of community is the number one thing that I've seen brands who do social media well is one thing that they can really capitalize on. Creating that brand trust, that brand affinity, that community, and the relationship. People, regardless of whether or not it starts with a bot, it ends with a human, starts with a human, it ends a different way. People are expecting that empathy. They want those relationships. They almost feel like seen, like almost like a little celebrity moment when a brand talks to them. And at the end of the day, we all just want to be cared for. We all want the trust in the brands and the people that we're talking to, regardless of what channel they're on, social media, on the phone, email, chat, any place that you're meeting somebody, you really need to meet them where they're at and really have that empathy. So when I'm seeing things across the board and throughout my years in the social space, I really find that having that full holistic program in social is important. You need to have that brand tone that kind of is relatable to the customer that you're talking to, and that might shift between what I say to Purveer and what I might say to somebody who's 18 years old. So really understanding the brand tone and how you want to have your social media team execute, and then also the community that you can kind of build through how you're posting, the trends that you're leading into, how quickly you're responding to people, what other conversations are you jumping into. All of these things are really important in that social space. And why not use, I know marketing teams aren't free, but why not use that free channel, all of those free channels to have conversations with more people and create a wider assortment of customers for your brand. I mean, it only makes sense to me that you would use those channels. And not to mention, if you're not in those channels today, then you're missing out on your future customers. Because honestly, that is where Gen X, Gen Z, millennials are sitting right now, Gen Alphas. That is where your future is. So if you're not in your social channels and you're not utilizing them to the best of your capabilities, then I honestly don't know what will happen to your brand in the future.
I think one is, yeah, totally agree with that. That's absolutely, great insights. At the same time, utilizing them effectively, and again and again, I will create the fact resonating with your brand, resonating with the entire organization, what you intend to achieve, what is the vision of the organization, makes a lot
Hmm.
more sense. I mean, don't get me how old I am, but Fevicol
Hmm.
is used to be and is still a big adhesive that is used in construction in India, and I think a lot of other places in the world as well. The
Hmm.
ads that came out at a point of time when Fevicol launched themselves as the biggest adhesive that you should use in building your house, your products, your table, chairs, so on and so forth. Those ads were mind-numbing, mind-changing. It catapulted Fevicol into a multi-billion-dollar organization, which for a very long time survived as the only adhesive brand that you should use for construction in most of India and all of India. Now, the interesting aspect was the fact that what was their vision, what had they created, and then how it was taken to marketing, and what was their segment population that they wanted to target.
Yeah.
To your
Hmm.
point, they were targeting the population at that time, which was in their 30s, 40s. You start building your own house. I mean, God bless them, people do that before and later as well. But largely in 15s, you're trying to struggle. In 20s, you're trying to get out of college to understand what's happening. Then you start building momentum with yourself and your life. And they were targeting that population in those prime times, those prime zones, those spaces everywhere. It was a beautiful marketing campaign over a period of 3 to 5 years. It catapulted them to something different. So it's all about the intent. How do you take it? How do you market it? How do you execute it? And how do you take it forward? That's where, you asked me the question. That's where Datamatics as an organization, we have been able to help our customers take themselves on the next journey of social media marketing and social media campaign. And the reason for that is because we believe in execution ourselves as well and having the right intent. And then using the technology off the back of it. I know you touched upon AI a little bit and you asked me a bit of questions. I gave a bit thing. You again, not placing the human aside, please do use AI to do the heavy lifting for you. That's where it
Yeah.
is, the
Yeah.
data part of it. And then use your creative strategy storytelling, your compelling conversations. That's where the human comes. When a customer's not happy, confused, what decision you need to make. That's where the human nature comes in and says, hey, by the way, I'm looking at XYZ trends, so and so forth. This is the right answer, the right product for you. I'm going to hold your hand through the journey. You get me?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
aspect of the human cannot be missing. Any judgment. So
Correct.
it's like, I would say AI handles the weight of it. Humans will and should be handling the moments where trust can be built. And
Yeah.
that's why it's two moving together, but at the same time complementing each other. It's not that the human's out of the loop, but the human is being supported by so much amount of data. It just makes your marketing catapult. I would imagine if Fevicol had this amount of data information analytics at the back end, they would be $1 trillion organization today. I just picked that example because when I knew we were talking about it, I saw some good ones. And examples of Coke, their entire marketing campaign, unbelievable. Pepsi,
Yeah, who doesn't remember
unbelievable.
Coke
Yeah,
Coke's
exactly.
Christmas commercials, right? I
Exactly.
mean,
Who doesn't
I feel
remember
like
this?
they're imprinted in our brains. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
those are some of the interesting commercials and stuff that come out. It's unbelievable how they
yeah.
hinge in your memory and remember them forever because they actually will cater to your requirement. That's what an
Yeah.
organization wants. Everybody wants to be at a level where they're remembered, not only now, even tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Not only just remembered, but I feel like recognized too, right? I mean, think about Starbucks, and when you see that mermaid, it's like that Starbucks. They've created such a brand for themselves through their marketing. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, the power of marketing is huge, but I think you have to use that in conjunction with all the other pieces, right? You have to have the social media, you have to have the strong product, you have to have the teams working together, and then also the customer care at the end of the day. Um, yeah, so all those pieces working together as one. In
no, beautiful.
terms of where we're headed next, I think we should do our last poll question. Do you agree, Pravir? And then we can kind of close it out with everyone.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's do that.
Okay.
And
So why don't
if
you pop
anyone's got
up the
any
poll?
questions, you can always
Yeah,
pop
happy to answer
in
them.
or raise your hand. We're happy to even have a chat with you guys.
All right. So, which areas of your social program would benefit most from outside support? Content production, community management, social selling, or analytics? While people are answering that, I just want to go back to the AI conversation. In social media, for those who don't know, there are many tools out there that can help support you, that you can be sitting in order to receive all the information that's happening inside of social, for you to understand what's most important to respond to when. You can create a whole workflow, buckets, feedback data loop. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Happy to guide you in what the best strategy would be to kind of build out your social media team. And if you're not aware of being in a safe tool, happy to help you there as well. So just want to touch on that.
I think since nobody answered the question, my answer on this is analytics and community engagement.
Yeah.
Rest, the organizations have their own strategy on it, their content production. See, interesting aspect is, yeah, people can, yeah, content
Oh,
production.
content production and analytics.
Interesting. interesting about when you say content production, I hope and imagine it's content production on marketing side of it.
Yeah, I
So
think
you know
so.
what I'd say something interesting. You can use AI to produce your content today, but at the same time, you get the human in the loop to support you on that. And that's where organizations like us, outside support within, can help and support that. And when I picked up the second part of it, that the content part of it, that was on the reason that uh, you get a layered part of the journey. You start saying, okay, create the content, support in the marketing aspect of it, and help you identify where you need to market. Again, analytics and the layer sit behind it and the intel of it, and then execution of the entire strategy across the organization. So yeah, interesting point.
So I think that kind of wraps up our conversation today. I just think we could kind of retouch on a few of the topics that we've discussed today. Social being an undervalued engine for revenue. I think that's just it's difficult in terms of sharing the ROI over to executives, how you go about that. Because I think a lot of times it's not something that happens immediately. It's something that happens over time. But you really can't walk away from social media as a revenue engine. It really is something that's going to power your business. And I think you'd be silly not to utilize it. Like I said, it's a free tool, so have it
Yeah.
as a part of your strategy and don't be half in, half out. I think you really need to be full forced as a full blown strategy inside of social media. It really can create a community for your brand. And then the different issues that leaders are facing. Obviously, that's consistent across industries. We saw that at our dinner on Thursday. And it's mostly silos. I think, that's a big one. People don't know where to use AI. So I think those are two really big topics. How do you utilize tech in order to power your people? Pravir touched upon it in multiple different ways, and I jumped in, but really utilizing tech to power the people but still have that human touch so that you can kind of still have that empathy, that community build. And then the other piece is, social is really just a massive opportunity for companies to take social media seriously and to really have a part of their social strategy. There's so many different drivers and multiple forms of business value that social can drive: customer service, recruiting, thought leadership, loyalty. We've talked about community a million times. Should I say community again? Crisis control, brand equity. It's not just revenue. It's really a place for you to really jump in and have it be a part of your full strategy. I'll let Pravir close it out for us, but if you have any
That's okay.
questions, happy to answer
I,
them as
I,
well.
I think you made a good point here. We've got a question here from one of the participants. What's the
Yeah,
single biggest
yeah.
barrier keeping your organization from turning social engagement into actual revenue? And we actually touched upon this aspect, saying the biggest is the break in the middle, the messy middle. You've
Hmm.
got the intent at the top, you've got a product at the bottom. It's how do you map the two across? I think we've spoken a bit about that. Is the execution aspect of either what's there from your intent perspective or your product, and your so the break between the parts of the organization is the biggest mess that can prevent you from turning a social media engagement into a revenue generating opportunity. You can sell and sell and sell, but if you don't
Yeah.
have meat at the end of it, what you gonna do?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest hurdles is really just getting everybody to work together, understanding the same strategy at the same time, and then also, relaying that ROI back to executives. Because if you don't have them on board, then it's going to continue to break in that middle area. So really trying to understand how you can share the ROI across social. And again, it's a part of the bigger picture. It's not necessarily something that you can do immediately. So that's hard for executives, I think.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, thank you, Rory, for a lovely afternoon and an
Yeah,
evening.
thank you guys. I appreciate you all joining.
Yeah, appreciate that. And do take care. I know you from coming back, you've not been feeling well, but enjoy
Yes,
yourself.
sorry. My coughs.
All righty. Take
But
care.
thanks everyone. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Have a
It
good
was a great
afternoon.
convo. Appreciate it. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.